watching.
Subscribe. Hello, you're watching ScreenStalker versus Kong. I'm Laurie Blake. This is Ollie Davis. Click the thumbs up to give us a like and subscribe to the channel because we have new goals for subscribers. If we get to 50,000 subscribers on YouTube, we're going to start doing a WWE 2K Universe mode with all of us in. And we've got like really good, well-made characters already. I've not seen me. We've seen everyone else. They all look really good. Coming up on the show,
Joe Hendry talks about what Grand Theft Auto 6 can learn from Monopoly.
and Spider-Man isn't out of the MCU. Or is he? Or is he? Or is he?
But first up, we have the home release version of Godzilla, and that has let people really zoom in and slow down the end credit sequence, which has loads of zoom-ins on newspaper articles, which have tons and tons of Easter eggs in. So we want to know, first of all, what do you want to see from Godzilla vs. Kong? Let us know in the comments down below. The Kong-ents.
Me and Luke will be going through your comments tomorrow on the video, so leave one, I guess. Who cares?
One of these little newspaper article bits where they zoom in has this paragraph. So the title of the article is Monarch Boosts Forces Around Skull Island, and the rest of the article goes on to say, Mysterious Island becoming unstable. Della Rosa, don't know who that is, went on to claim that Monarch was not only developing this mechanized giant on Skull Island, but had already tried to create organic titans in the past, and that they are the cause of several of the recent Titan incidents. But the key word here is that they've developed mechanized giants in the past. This article seems to be referring to Ghidorah because Ghidorah was like the main antagonist in Kong of the Monsters here.
I'm putting out there Robot Kong.
Yeah, or it could be Robot Kong.
Cyborg apes.
Or it could be Mecha Godzilla.
So I think it's probably going to be Mecha Kong, because that was obviously a really big part of the story before, like making the monkey fully mechanized, lasers, all that kind of stuff. Or it could be some sort of Mecha Mothra type thing, where it's like, is there a problem?
Stop getting Kong wrong. I'm just going to step in at this point right now. Although, in fairness, you weren't 100% off base. There has already been a mechanized King Kong before in the Toho-produced King Kong Escapes. So there is actually precedent for a mechanized Kong appearing within this monsterverse, at least the original version. But yeah, so you could also be Mecha Godzilla, which we saw like back in the original 70s version of the Godzilla franchise, which became an antagonist for Kong, both on the good side and on the bad side of sort of Kong's lineage, sometimes created by, the good forces to try and battle Kong. Sometimes it was an alien creature that had been built to then battle against Kong. And you were mentioning Mecha Ghidorah as well, Mecha King Ghidorah, which is from the 1992 movie Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah, which is one of my personal favorites. It's one I was talking about in the post-credits explained video when I was doing the Easter eggs video back on ScreenStalker. I think it's a really fun story. I mean, it's about guys from the future creating a mechanized version of Ghidorah.
So this is all building to Godzilla vs. Kong, which comes out on March 13th next year. That's not that far away. We'll probably get a trailer soon. It's directed by the excellent Adam Wingard, the guy behind The Guest. So how would this possibly play into that film?
So my theory was the post-credits of Godzilla King of the Monsters kind of sets up Mecha King Ghidorah. Like, I wasn't saying King Ghidorah.
Kinky Dora. Kinky Dora the Explorer.
It's the new film, isn't it? They're trying to really make it. Where it really felt like that the Charles Dance character was going to create his own version of sort of like a mechanized Titan. My theory was that this mechanized Titan will essentially wreak havoc, and while Godzilla and Kong are facing each other, they would then have to team up to then take down this bigger common threat.
A Batman v Superman,
if you will.
Director Adam Wingard has said, though, that there will be a definitive winner out of Godzilla and Kong. So that implies that they won't go down the route of, Doomsday's here, let's just gang up and beat him.
Or you could have them team up to fight each other and then do the Hulk Thor moment, where he just punches him in the head and he just flies off to the side. And it's like, oh, cool, so Hulk won that fight then.
I believe in Joe Hendry. Talking about Monopoly. And how it pertains to Grand Theft Auto 6.
This is Joe Hendry here, and this week we're going to discuss what Grand Theft Auto 6
could learn from Monopoly. Now that sounds like a weird one, but let me explain. Because anticipation and speculation has been at an all-time high for any details regarding the next Grand Theft Auto. So much so that when people in Edinburgh saw Rockstar tear down the Red Dead Redemption posters, they thought it must be time to announce the next Grand Theft Auto. And that got the juices flowing, got the ideas flowing, and made us think perhaps they could go back in time and take influence from that famous board game from 1935 to inject a little competition into the formula. And here's how. I want to go back to Grand Theft Auto 5, and in my opinion, just my opinion, I think the story was a little disjointed. Having to go between Franklin, Trevor and Michael, it became a little bit disjointed and exhausting. But perhaps we could take influence from Monopoly and look at why that board game is still played all over the world. There's a reason people still go back, and it's because you have a desire to win. You want to prove you know best, and you want to defeat your family. But Joe, it causes arguments, it destroys families, true, but there's a reason it stood the test of time. In Monopoly, you have to defeat, you have to destroy the opposition, you have to monopolize. And you know what? That reminds me of a typical Grand Theft Auto story arc. But all throughout that game, it's not about you as the individual in your adventure, it's about your interactions with the people you're playing with. What if we took those stakes and put it into that 3-character formula, but 2 of those characters were your friends? So if you log on, you do a couple missions, and that impacts when your friends log on and they have to retaliate. You have competing businesses, competing empires. It leads to all new interesting scenarios. Now that is a huge challenge when it comes to storytelling, but you know what? We've come to expect amazing things from Rockstar, and you know what? GTA 6 should be no different. So when it comes to that all-important story mode, perhaps we can mix a little bit of online, but we can get rid of that annoyance of getting killed by people that you don't even know randomly and keep it to the group of friends. That way we can get the best of both worlds. We get the online play, we get a different adventure every time, and you can have a great time with your mates. And here's the thing, if a board game from 1935 can destroy your friendships, then why can't we expect the same from our games?
Na Spider-Man. Spider-Man. That's right, isn't it?
We keep doing this.
Last week had the news that Sony and Marvel owned by Disney, so really Sony and Disney, had sort of fallen out a little bit when renegotiating the terms on Spider-Man being involved in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Fallen out? Like, it.
But anyway, the long and short of it is that Spider-Man, his status ongoing in the Marvel Cinematic Universe is unclear because Sony might not let Disney use him going forward.
So a fan asked James Gunn, who is the director of Guardians of the Galaxy, what he thought of this. And on Twitter he said, "It's 2 corporations working their shit out. I have no idea what's going on behind the scenes, but speaking of that, the day I shot this scene was the day I introduced Tom Holland to Stan Lee for the first time. Tom and Spider-Man director John Watts are both class acts."
So James Gunn there really saying that he doesn't know, and I take him for his word there. A lot of other directors have come out and say, look, this is beyond our pay grade.
Yeah.
Well, we don't know what's going on here. But then interestingly, the Keystone Comic Con was over the weekend. It's in Philadelphia, and Tom Holland was appearing, and before he came on stage to answer questions, the Comic Con organisers politely asked fans not to bring up the whole Disney-Sony situation.
But they said because it could damage the potential fixing of this, the repatching up of this relationship.
Yeah, the direct quote from the Philadelphia Inquirer was, "It might mess up any contract discussions that will be announced within the next few days," which suddenly puts a time frame on this, that we might know the Spider-Man future by the end of the week. And we got this covered. I've also reported that Kevin Feige himself is trying to convince Disney to go back to square one and make a new deal with Sony.
Yeah, I think they were definitely banking on the idea that Spider-Man being in the MCU was a huge boon to Sony, and Sony want that. There is more for their Spider-Verse in the MCU than there is just trying to spin it out of Spider-Man, going like, you care less and less about all of these characters. Please come and see a whole movie about Kraven the Hunter.
But that's exactly what Sony want to do. This has been their plan going back 5 years. They want
the Kraven.
So it looks like we'll hopefully have an update on that by the end of the week. But Tom Holland has said at the Keystone Comic Con, apparently one of the first questions was, So will you be playing Spider-Man again? Despite the express wishes of the Comic-Con organisers not to bring that up. And he said, it's not the end of me playing Spider-Man. There's definitely more to come. We sat down with some of our creatives. We pitched Spider-Man 3, which is going to be something very special. It's going to be something very different. To me, that sounds like all of this stuff that's going on in the press at the moment is just negotiation ploys between Sony and Disney.
Yes.
I'm quite hopeful now that they will work something out.
Yeah, because otherwise, what is the creative vision for Spider-Man? Because you've got to chuck out all the stuff that he has been doing for 2 films. And maybe it's just doing a weird event thing, or maybe he goes into the Spider-Verse and comes out on his own weird Just Me universe where nothing that he knew before existed. Maybe they do Spider Island, where it's just like, you just start the film, this event kicks off, everyone's turning into spiders. That would be the whole film, then we don't have to touch on anything because it's too crazy. If everyone else is spiders and you can't talk to them, no one's going to bring up Iron Man.
Yeah.
Shut up! Shut up! Shut up!
So it's time for your comments, and yesterday Luke and Pete asked you, would the new Star Wars film include time travel? Will the new Star Wars film include time travel?
Because they haven't got enough things going on already.
No. So J-Rock said, why not? Everyone has done it. Maybe they will do the old ridiculous concept like going at the speed of light counterclockwise will make you go back in time or something. And finally, Star Wars will also get into the time travel vortex of evil from which even horror franchises were not safe from.
Even the MCU with Endgame.
I know.
Justin Barrett says, who cares? Star Wars Episode 7 has ruined Star Wars by just making Star Wars A New Hope again.
Yeah, that was Force Awakens. So
yeah, I feel like
The Last Jedi was the contentious one.
Yes.
Jay Lee says the only time travel will be the end where a young computer-generated Luke Skywalker suddenly wakes up and turns to Biggs Darklighter and says, "Biggs, you won't believe the dream I just had."
Yeah, Biggs. And Coco Davison says, can't they go back in time and stop Rian Johnson from disregarding everything set up in Episode 7? It's not like Disney are unhappy with what he did.
People went and saw it. People are sort of fairly excited for this one. I don't know why. I've never understood Star Wars. What is it? Why is it good? I get like the
lightsabers.
Yeah, I get. Yeah, what shake weights?
And the big.
It's got shake weights.
It's got the lightsabers. It's got the really big ships. It's, for me, often it's just spaceship porn.
Yeah.
I love the designs of all the spaceships in Star Wars.
Erotic.
Oh yeah. Put it on at night time.
Yeah. If we can get those and Judy Hopps together in some
God! Screw time travel. I want the interdimensional crossover.
Screw Judy Hopps!
But today's question is, what do you want to see from Godzilla vs. Kong? Mecha lizards, mecha
apes,
mecha Bobby Brown,
mecha monkeys.
Just mecha everything. Maybe that's what mecha Star Wars. Let us know in the comments and we'll answer the best ones in tomorrow's video.
That is all we have time for. Thank you for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel because we have brand new subscriber goals. Like when we get to 50,000 subscribers, we'll be starting our own WWE 2K Universe mode. We've also got a King of Games tournament coming up and mystery wrestling guests. And remember, we're watching.